Welcome to Character Analysis, the podcast where I play armchair psychologist and internet detective to help you read between the lines, spot red flags, and identify and avoid messy and potentially dangerous situations. Now today we're talking about liars, and not just your garden variety liar, and not even just your typical gaslighter. I'm talking about those people who are so skilled at lying and are so persuasive that they can turn an entire friend group or an entire community against someone. And I'm sure you've seen one of these people. You probably even follow one of them or support them. They're probably among some of your favorite influencers. Because see, they didn't become an influencer by not being able to tell a good lie or two. And if you haven't done it already, make sure you're subscribed to either my Substack or my Patreon, because I've posted a bonus episode where we do a bit more of a deep dive on the psychology of people like this, how to identify them, and how to deal with one who's telling lies about you. Now, I am not unfamiliar with people like this. In fact, over the past, I would say 2 or 3 years, as my social media presence has grown, I've gone up against my share of people like this. What's so dangerous about them is how good they are at playing the victim. They usually have an entire backstory put together that they tell to new people that they meet. And it's usually something really tragic. And if it's not tragic, then they do what they can to get you to identify with them. See yourself in them. They're able to do this because they're very skilled at reading people and being able to identify people's pressure points. Now, a lot of times, and I get more into this into the bonus episode, this is a result of trauma. But oftentimes it's just a profound lack of morals and ethics. These types of liars are what I call the dangerous kind of liars. Because they don't just make up a story or two. They're not just lying to spare your feelings. These are the types of liars whose end goal is social manipulation. And depending on how desperate they are to control the narrative, they'll also delve into reputational damage. This isn't just about a lie. This is about a lie that everyone believes. And it usually has a very innocent beginning. And that's because these types of people, when they tell these lies, they're very calm about it. I just dealt with a situation last night in a TikTok live where, and the details don't really matter, but it was somebody that had blocked me. And I had proved that she had blocked me. But she sat there, and the way she just said so calmly, no, I didn't block you. And I'm showing the proof of it. I didn't do that. And there were people in my comments saying, she said she didn't do it, completely ignoring the proof that she's lying. And they did that because she was so composed when she told that lie. And she didn't just lie. She built an entire narrative, like an entire story around it. Once all these people started to come out and say, hey, yeah, you blocked me too, then suddenly she copped to the blocking, but it was that people were coming into her lives and they were trolling her. And they were saying this and they were doing that, and it morphed into this story. A story that was convincing enough to persuade people to believe that the original lie she told was justified. I knew in that moment, just listening to her, just watching her, I just sat back at that point because I thought there's no point. There's no point in questioning this person. There's no point in engaging, because she's just going to continue lying. But more importantly, people are going to continue to believe her. So I'm not gonna give her more space and more opportunity to pull off this scam, basically. And you have to be able to identify situations like that. Like, when will you be able to actually call out the liar effectively, versus when will you just be giving them more airtime, basically? These types of liars, these narrative architects, they tend to plant seeds very early. I have been involved with the exposing of influencers who have done this. And we're talking about people who have engaged in years-long fraud. And no matter how much evidence came out that these people were lying, no matter how much proof, they were still always able to find people to believe them. Now, their audience shrunk, but they were still always able to find people to believe them. And it doesn't matter that their audience, their target audience, kept shrinking, because all they needed is one group of people, like a group of evangelists. And that's what these people are to these liars. They are evangelists. These people go out and they tell this person's story. They're able to foster this kind of environment because they're not just skilled liars. These are skilled actors. These are people who know how to get people to feel sorry for them. They know how to play the victim. They're very good at it. Like any other scammer. And if you're on dating apps, then you know you've probably encountered a romance scammer. How do they do it? How do they hook you? By preying on your sympathy, by preying on your vulnerabilities, by finding out what your hot buttons are. Oh, your ex cheated? So did theirs. Oh, you grew up with a narcissist? So did they. Their initial motive, their initial agenda is to build a rapport with somebody. Oftentimes they'll do that not just by emotionally bonding with them, but doing nice things for them, doing favors for them. And you think that they're doing these favors or offering these things to you to be nice, but really they're doing them so that they can hold them over your head and get you to do things for them. What makes them so skilled is they have sort of an 80-20 rule, right? Where it's 80% is the truth, 20% is distortion. Just enough, not too much, so as to sort of set off people's like internal alarm systems, just enough to slip underneath the radar. They keep their stories fairly simple, at least at first, because they know that people don't necessarily side with the truth. They side with the most coherent story. These types of people work very hard at winning over other people. That's because if, and typically when, the truth comes out, they want that person to feel conflicted about turning their back on them, about believing all this stuff that's coming out. Nobody wants to believe that this person that they've become close to, that they're friends with, they don't want to believe that that person's actually deceptive. More importantly, they don't want to believe that their radar, that their judgment is off, because they worry what that says about them. And so, rather than expose themselves and expose maybe their errors in judgment, they continue to support this person. And it's kind of like any other really toxic, like a toxic romantic relationship. You invest so much time in it that you don't want to just throw it away. You think you can fix it. What these liars are doing, and they're very stealth about it, is they are very slowly isolating the people they're lying to. They're isolating the people that they're manipulating. Again, just like any other scammer, they want to isolate their target and get them away from anybody who might tell them, hey, this person that you're talking to, that you're friends with, they're manipulative, they're lying. We see people like this everywhere too, right? We see these type of manipulators everywhere. We see them in our friend group. We see them at work. We see them on social media. And what people in all of these scenarios have in common is that the liars, these narrative architects, they're usually very passive aggressive. But they do it in a way that's so stealth that most people don't pick up on it. It's a slow burn. They don't rush it, which is why so many of these types of people are usually very successful at taking down the people they want to take down. They're very good at getting into people's heads and sort of warming their way in. And then once they're there, they just kind of make themselves at home. For how long depends on what their motivation is. What are they looking for? Are they trying to grift and get money from people? Or is this sort of a longer con where they're trying to destroy somebody? What's very important to remember is the danger here isn't just the lie itself, right? It's not their propensity for lying. The danger here is that that people believe them. We live in a society, especially online. These types of communities thrive off of this kind of drama and this kind of conflict. If you're on any social media platform, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, you've seen it. You've seen the way people go at each other. I've done it. I've been in on these types of panels. This is how some people's panels stay in existence. This is how some of these people get paid, by constantly having conflict and drama with people. And they often do it at the expense of somebody else's peace of mind, somebody else's reputation. Now, in part 2 of the bonus episode, we're going to talk about the red flags of identifying these types of people before you get roped in or before you become one of their targets. And if you do find yourself in this person's orbit, we're going to talk about how do you get away? How do you get them out of your life? And how do you deal with them if they've decided that they're going to make you their next target? So make sure you're subscribed. Thank you for listening. Make sure you're following me on social media at My Character Analysis on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. Follow my personal Instagram at @TheChristanM, TheChristanM. And make sure you're subscribed to my Substack or my Patreon so you can get all this bonus content. Thanks for listening, and if I don't see you in part 2, I'll talk to you guys soon.